procedure is always dynamic, right?
Everything's always fluid, isn't it?
There you go.
Okay. All in favor of that recommendation?
Nothing's ever written in
Carried.
stone.
And we're on to the bylaws.
You're messing up.
Bylaw 37 for the rules of order and procedure, bylaw 55 for the code of conduct, bylaw 56 for the agreement with Bell and report, bylaw 57 confirming resolutions to date, and bylaw 58 is amending the site plan for skiers. Motion for those bylaws. Three reading. Councillor Scott. Seconded. Councillor Cook. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. The accounts 10.1.
I have to declare conflict.
Conflict declared by Councillor Cook. Motion on the accounts. Councillor Bonstein. Seconded. Councillor McGuire. Questions? All in favor of those? Carried. Opposed? Notices of motion. There's none that have been put forth at this time. New business. Opportunity for emergent issue to be discussed. Council. Councillor Owen.
I'm bringing this forward. This was through Councillor Underwood, I believe, and he's unable to be here. It's from Dale Dew, and it's an outcome of the fire and destruction of his property. So I'm going to read it. He says, I'm requesting council consideration to allow me, Dale Dew, as owner of property located at 8529 Canary Road, to enter into an agreement with the municipality to allow my family and I to live in a 32-foot trailer to be set up on the property while we build our new home, as our former home was destroyed by fire this past weekend. Having the trailer on this property while we build will allow us to take care of the property, keep an eye as I store my landscaping equipment for my business at this address. So that's, I move that we accept this.
That's right.
All in favor of that? Yeah. That's carried. It's on two-thirds majority. Have an emergent issue plus one.
Yeah.
Anything else under
New business.
new business? Councilor Day?
I have two issues I'd like to discuss. The first is something I just forwarded to you earlier today with regards to the possibility of establishing a communication survey. And as you may recall, the ad hoc committee had a subcommittee on communications, and one of their primary recommendations to council was that we go through the exercise of having a communication survey with the public, as there's some indication we could do better, and we could draw from them their input into it. So since this isn't an urgent issue, I'm just informing you of that tonight, and I'd like to make a motion that staff prepare a report that gives us a history of any other communications surveys that have been done to this point and the result of that, and recommendations on how to approach this the most effectively possible from their perspective. And I have some questions that I've scoured off the net, which could be used as a point of discussion, if they could make some recommendations on whether those questions should be included or re-edited for our purposes too. So if you're supportive of that, I'd like to make that motion that we start the initiation of a communications survey that will be done in SurveyMonkey format, provided on the internet, advertised in our various media purpose options that we have available.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to see this included in our next agenda for discussion under 5.2, just so that it goes to the clerk, comes through our next agenda, so it's part of our next agenda as opposed to coming as a set it forms part of our next meeting, and then we'll discuss it at the next meeting. Decide from there where to go.
Under the procedure, that's probably what we've agreed to, the way it should come. I agree with the motion and the concept and everything, but to bring it through, we just have it that. Ask for
Tuesday?
Our next regular meeting.
Monday? That's fine.
next regular meeting. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, this is just kind of a notice of that, but the next will have the motion.
Okay, that's fine. And then the second issue is, with the working group, we've been tasked, those who are representatives of expandable, whatever we do. And within the expansion, it would address all of the areas covered under the environmental study review. So we have to say, within the 20-year lifespan, design life of this sewage treatment facility, what flows we can anticipate having to contribute to a sewage treatment facility. And for us to do that, having discussed it, we feel that there's a necessity to draw in engineers with some additional expertise to help us to define that, because they will provide a third-party objective viewpoint, which will help us to present numbers which are really reliable. So as representatives, we'd just like to present that to you as council to say, are you supportive of us working with, we recommend Stantec, who is actively involved right now and in a position to be able to work on it simultaneously with your other work, helping us to define exactly what types of flows we're going to need. And in light of council's directives to not draw in zones 3 and 4 currently, but for the next phase and those types of things. It's really important these numbers be reliable, and
I think we're getting into a discussion here tonight that has not been on the agenda. I would like to, I think council has had reports on the flows, and I guess we have to look at what the mandate of the working committee is, was to look at alternatives to the plant, not flow rates or who's in or who's out of the plant. It's the master plan, the study areas. So, this hasn't been on the agenda, and I think if we get a report or a request from the working committee, then we'll deal with that as a council, but I don't know that we want to have a discussion on that. I don't think that was part of the mandate of the committee as much as looking at alternatives, not alternative amount of use.
well, there's several issues here. First of all, there is a time urgency because we have to report back as a working group. Like, an update report is expected by the end of June. And the thing is that the working group itself is, they're not going to tell Lamp Shores what to do. They're not going to say that you have to come back to us with flows. But the flows are going to be very important for us defining alternatives, because some alternatives can handle those flows and other alternatives cannot handle those flows. So we have to say, well, we'll have to eliminate this alternative because it doesn't handle what we need in this time frame. Or this would work ideal if it's just a partial build, perhaps, or something like that, as we define what the flow needs are. So I have no problem waiting to the next meeting if you prefer to
I
have
know
this
the working
discussion,
committee
but
has to move forward.
we do
Times.
have, this is actually an urgent issue which we do have to address quickly.
I guess we should frame it, what's the engineering company doing now? What's the doing part of this work?
Yeah, they're evaluating the alternatives, like they're gathering all the
It's part of
options.
their job,
and
is doing
that's-
it already, so I think we're already in the process of getting process being done.
Was,
Unfortunately, the flows are not part of their mandate. That's our responsibility. South Huron comes to the table with their flows, and we're coming to the table with our flows, and that's our independent responsibility.
again, we're getting into a discussion that wasn't on the agenda, and it's not being advertised. Sorry?
Just one question, through you to Brent. Do we need, is this where you're seeing that we need to go as well, or,
That's,
I mean, Elizabeth, Elizabeth is
It's fine.
asking.
No, I mean, no.
And I'm just asking him, like,
I don't mind offering, I'll offer my opinion. Review flow, right now our direction from council is we're bounded by the requirements of the ESR, and council provide that direction. The goal is to achieve the master plan flows ultimately, and the working groups discuss that will be accomplished by making the plant expandable.